This video is going to cover how to solve exponentials using something called a logarithm. So it's exponentials as logarithms to solve. So go ahead and take a few moments, pause the video if necessary, and copy this down. Okay. So just first of all, this right here, let me circle what I'm talking about. This right here is what you're used to as far as exponentials go. You have some kind of base, so b is your base. Okay. Some exponent equal to something else. Now, usually over here, you have another base and you have, I don't know, something like that, okay? But sometimes you won't have that. You'll have something more like what we have here, where you have the base to some number, some variable is equal to something else, and there's no same bases, there's no way to change the base. So we have to use something called a logarithm, and that is this word right here, logarithm. Or you can also say log for short, okay? So the way we do this is we're going to rewrite this one using this notation. So we start with the word log, so log, and then we always start with our base. So that b goes right next to it as a subscript, okay? So little b, and then we come around, so there's my y, and we go back around, is equal to x. So it kind of follows like a little rotation, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do an example and show you what I mean and how we're going to be using this. Let's say we have 3 to the power of x is equal to 7. Okay, now first take note that the bases here on this side are 3 and the base on this side is 7. So 3 and 7 have nothing in common. If you were to break down 7, it would be 7 times 1. So we cannot write this in terms of 3, which is why we're going to be using a logarithm to solve it. Okay, so to do that, a little too far. To do that, we're going to go ahead and rewrite this. So we're going to first, okay, rewrite as a logarithm. So we start with the word log, L-O-G. And again, log is just a function that we're going to be using to solve this, okay? There's a specific button for it in the calculator, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then we continue with our base. So the base for this one on the left side is 3. So 3 goes next, and it's just down here in the bottom. Okay. Then, if you look at what's next, it's this y. So according to the picture, we're going to go around. Okay, so I'm going to come around, and I'm going to write that 7 down. So 7, okay, is equal to whatever's left over. So we come back around, it's equal to x. So we're just rewriting this first one in terms of a logarithm, okay? Start with the base, there's my 3, move to the 7, there's the 7, equal to x. And this right here is kind of our answer, okay? But I'm going to have you go one step further and actually calculate this. So just so we're clear, this right here is the answer, log base 3 of 7. Okay, and that's how you say this. Log, you would read this, log base 3 of 7 equals x. Okay, but what is this? Like this is just, well, this looks kind of weird, right? There's a function on your calculator, on most scientific calculators, okay, that has this function. And I'm going to go ahead and show that to you in a separate video. But essentially what you do is you just plug it in, okay? You plug in log base 3 of 7. And if you do that correctly, okay, you should end up with approximately 1.77. And that is going to be equal to x for this problem. And again, I'll go ahead and show you an app to use this. We're going to use Desmos. Okay, so you would use the Desmos calculator to calculate this part right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another example. Right now, if this part right here didn't make sense to you, that's okay. It's just a calculation part, okay? This is what I need you to be able to do from here, from this piece to this piece. So let's practice again. Let's do another example. And this time, what I want you to do is try to rewrite it first before copying the answer. So here's the example I'm going to give you. 2 to the power of x is equal to 20. And the first thing I want you to do is to rewrite this. Remember, you start with the word log. So go ahead and pause the video here and try to rewrite it first, and then unpause and see if you got the answer right. Okay, so at this point you should have tried it at least. So we're going to start with the word log, okay? And then we go on to our base. So our base is 2, so it'd be log base 2. We come around, so 20 is next, okay? Equal to, and we go back around, so equal to x. And there we go. There is our answer in terms of logarithm, so in terms of log, log. And if I were to calculate this, so if you've already figured out how to use a calculator, you can try that right now also before seeing the answer. But if I were to plug this into the calculator, so again, we're plugging this part right here, let me write that here. This part goes into the calculator, okay? You should get approximately, I'm getting 4.32, okay? And that's going to be equal to x, okay? And that's essentially what we're doing today. I'm going to give you another 2, 3 examples. We're going to go a little bit faster. Again, do the same thing. So copy the example, see if you can rewrite it by yourself first. Okay, and then, unpause the video to make sure that it's correct. So let's say we have 2 to the power of x is equal to, I'm going to make this one kind of easy, see if you can figure it out before, is equal to 8. Okay, so again, pause the video, rewrite it. Okay, rewrite log first. Okay, so again, this is the rewrite. Rewrite log, and then we start with the base. So our base is 2. And then we come around. So 8 is next. Equal to, come around. So equal to x. So this should be our answer. And if you plug in the log part, so if you plug in this part right here, okay, into the calculator, you should get equal to 3, exactly. So x is equal to 3. And in this problem, if you kind of saw it from the way beginning, you should notice that 8 is 2 to the third power. So therefore, you could see the answer right away. Okay, so it just kind of comes to show you sometimes you don't actually need all this work. I'm just showing you that it works out both ways regardless. Okay, so we're going to do, let's see, one more example like this one. And then I'm going to show you 2 additional examples with going backwards. Okay, so let's say that you have 2 to the x plus 3 is equal to 5. Okay, so for this one, we have an extra step. Okay, because of that 3. So we need to get rid of that 3 first. So we need to isolate our base part. I'm going to put base part in quotes. So this part right here is what I'm talking about. Okay, we need to get that by itself. So to do that, we're going to subtract the 3. So let me erase this line right here. We're going to go ahead and solve a little bit here. So I'm going to, oh, sorry. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So this is just regular algebra, okay? And we're left with 2 to the x is equal to 5 minus 3 is 2, okay? And at this point, we can go ahead and do our rewrite now. So here, once we have the base by itself, we can do our rewrite. This is also a problem that you can probably solve just by looking at it, but let's go ahead and do the log just for practice. So again, go ahead and pause the video here if you'd like and try to rewrite this first. I would have log base 2 because that's what we started off with. Our base is 2. And then we come around, so 2. And around, so equal to x, okay? And this is our answer. But if we want a numerical answer, okay, we would plug this into the calculator, and that gives us that this is equal to 1. Which kind of leads us to something, another, I guess you could call it a theorem. If our bases are the same, so if we have, well, I guess I should say the base of the log and then the base here, if these two are the same, okay, this kind of cancels itself out and you're just left with a 1. So if you ever have an answer like this, you can just assume that it's going to be 1, okay? But if not, like I said, just work it out and you'll get the same answer. So I'm going to do 2 more now. These are going to go backwards. So let's say that we have a logarithm now. So let's say we have log base 2 of x is equal to 5. Okay, so for this one, we have to go backwards. So to go backwards, I'm going to scroll back up a little bit so you can see what that looks like. We see that this right here, okay, has an arrow going the opposite way as well, meaning you can go back and forth. So if I start with the log, to go back to an exponent, I'm pretty much going to get rid of the log and start with the base. So start with the base, and then same deal, go around. So there's my x, and go around. Okay, so using that methodology, I'm going to go back to my example here. I'm going to cross out my logarithm and start with the base. So I'm going to have 2. And again, this right here, this would be the rewrites. Okay, so 2 goes first. So there's my 2. And then I'm going to go around. So to the power 5. Okay, equals, come back around, equals x. So now this is our answer, 2 to the 5th power, which is actually a little bit easier to see because we don't really need I mean, we could use a calculator here if we want to, but we don't need it because 2 to the 5th, this right here is the same as, sorry, this right here is the same as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. It's 5 2s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all this, if you multiply it, gives us, let's see, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. So this is also the same as x is equal to 32. Okay, and that is pretty much it. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. If you'd like here, I'm going to give you one more example just to see if you can rewrite it. Okay, so let me scroll down a little bit. And I'm not going to go too much into detail on this one. Let's say you have log base 3 of x is equal to 2. Go ahead and try to rewrite it first. So pause the video here so you can try it. Now here's the answer. Start with 3, cross out the log. So 3 to the power of 2 equals x. And 3 to the power of 2 is just 3 squared, 3 times 3. So this is just equal to 9. And that's it. So I'll go ahead and leave you at that. I'm going to go ahead and add another video on using the Desmos calculator. Um, Good luck. Let me know if you need any help.